Good morning. Welcome to Quilting with Lori. My name is Lori Dickman, and today I'm going to be sharing with you week number 45 of my 52-week series of Scrappy blocks. Today's block I'm calling Rose Tulip. Here is the block itself. You'll see that it's on point, and I've got a PDF attached in the description box below. I'm going to show you not only how to put this block together, but I'm going to show you a quilt, an idea that I have given to you in that PDF that I think you'll find very interesting. For those of you who might be new to my channel, I do have a video tutorial. It's a complete tutorial on how to cut, sort, organize, and get your scrap stash ready to go so that you can use it to make beautiful quilts. I have a corresponding techniques book that goes along with that tutorial. You'll also get 5 scrappy patterns in this techniques book. Plus, I do have the patterns book. It's a wonderful corresponding patterns book. There are 12 additional patterns here. So together you get the techniques and you get a total of 17 scrappy patterns. So you can check that out. All the links to the video tutorial are in the description box below, as well as to the book set out on my website. So now let's take a peek at how we are going to put this block together today. Here is the Rose Tulip block. It is set on point. As you can see, I've put it on this pink foam board so you can see it a little bit better. It kind of disappears on my white cutting mat. There is a PDF attached. Make sure you either download that, save it, print it, whatever you want to do. The first page gives the instructions on how to put the block together, and of course I'll be explaining that here in this tutorial for you. But on the second page you will find an idea for a quilt using this block. And what's really fun about this entire quilt is set on point, meaning all of the blocks are setting on point instead of horizontal and vertically. And the only block that I've actually used in this quilt is this Rose Tulip block. But what I've done is I have rotated the blocks in the rows so that they form 2 completely different looking designs, when in fact each of these is truly just the Rose Tulip block. It is a really fun technique, so I encourage you to have fun with that and experiment with your scrappy blocks and see what you can come up with. So that is the block idea for you. Now let's take a look at how we're going to put this block together. The first thing we need to know is what scraps you need to pull from your stash. So if you look at your instructions here, you'll see that you need 3 of the 5-inch lights that are squares. 2 of them will be used for half square triangles and 1 will be used to create rectangles. And you're also going to need 3 of the 4.5-inch squares and 1 of the 2.5-inch squares. So we've got, let me get down here to that. Here are 3 4.5-inch lights. There's 1 2.5-inch light, and then this one was the 5-inch square that I had used in this block, and I'm able to use the other rectangle for the second block, and I'll show you how that's done here in a moment. This is the excess fabric that was trimmed away. The other thing you're going to need are some mediums. You're going to need 1 4.5-inch square, and you're going to need 1 2.5-inch square, and then you're going to need 2 5-inch squares that you're going to be using to create the half square triangles. And these actually were already in my stash. So I have these light with a green for the leaf section, and I had the light with the blue for the flower section. So I encourage you, whenever you have leftover orphans of half square triangles, just put those half square triangle units in the tub for the corresponding size. And these were 4.5-inch finished or half square triangles, so I put them in my 4.5-inch bin, and I have them available to use for this particular block. To begin this, I would recommend that you go ahead and just get your half square triangles made, and then we'll do our corner triangle. We'll make the rectangles from that last 5-inch light square. But to make your half square triangles, you're going to use the 5-inch light and the 5-inch medium. You've seen me do this many times in so many of my 52-week series of Scrappy blocks, but you're going to place them right sides together. You will draw a line diagonally from one corner to the other. And then you are going to simply sew a scant 1/4 of an inch on each side of that drawn line, down one side, and I do this in assembly line fashion. So I pair them all up, then I draw the line, then I sew down one side and all the way down up the other side. Scant 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So you first draw the line on all of the pairs of half square triangles that you are making, and in this case we're only working on 2 pairs because we'll end up with 4 half square triangle units at that point. 2 of them will be used for the flower and 2 of them will be used for the leaf. And here you'll see that I have sewn 1/4 of an inch on each side of the drawn line. I have cut it apart on the drawn line, and I've opened it and trimmed away the excess. Let me see if I can get it open here. Trimmed away the excess fabric, the dog ears on each side. And we have what we need in the way of half square triangles then for the leaves. We'll end up with 2 that are light and green in this case for my leaves, and 2 that are light and blue for the flowers. Once you've finished the half square triangle, you do need to square each and every one up to 4.5 inches. So either use your 4.5 inch ruler. Here's an OmniGrid. It does have that 45-degree angle here that you absolutely must have. That gets lined up on your seam allowance, and then you just line it up so that it's on the 4.5 inch mark and trim away any excess that you might have. If you're using this is a ruler that I enjoy using. It's called the Clearly Perfect Slotted Trimmer, and this is the trimmer A, and it has the 1/2 inch increments. And since this is going to be a 4.5 inch half square triangle, before I press it open, you would line it up. Let me do it on the darker side so you can see this better. I would line up that 4.5 inch stitching line on the stitching line here of the half square triangle. And then I would trim away the excess fabric at that point. You also have the ability to trim away the dog ears here too. There's a slot in there that allows you to do that. So this will be your 4.5 inch half square triangles. You need a total of 4 of those. 2 are going to be for your leaf, 2 are going to be for your blossom, as you can see here. Now we're going to work on the corner unit of our rosebud, if you will, and that is, you're going to need the 5 inch light. There's one remaining 5 inch light square that you will simply cut in half. So you have 2 2.5 inch rectangles, and currently this one would be 5 inches long, but you're simply going to trim away 1/2 inch from those 2 rectangles so that you obtain a 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangle here. Another way to obtain that, if you have a lot of 2.5 inch strips in your stash, you could find some light strips, and you could find the 2.5 inch light strips and then just subcut 4.5 inch cuts from those strips to get what you need. And for this black, we simply need 1 rectangle here and then the 2 inch squares. So what we're going to be doing for this is sewing it together just like that. We're going to first piece the 2 2.5 inch squares together, then we're going to piece that unit to the 2.5 inch rectangle, and then we'll have our corner square. Simple as that. Let me do that and I'll bring it back to the tabletop. So I want to start laying out the block here on my tabletop. So I'm just going to place, this is the diagonal row that you'll see in the block. I do need these squares on the outside edges, and then I need my, let me grab them here. I need my flower portions, and let's see here. Got to make sure you orient everything in the proper orientation within each row. There we go. I do need to press these two. I see they haven't been pressed yet. But the block is laid out, so we have the 3 4.5 inch light squares, the 1 4.5 inch medium square. These are our 4.5 inch half square triangles, and we've trimmed them up to be 4.5 inches. And here is our corner unit. This is the rosebud part, or the top of the square itself. Now we're simply going to put this together as a 9 patch. And you'll be able to sew it all together very simply, very easily. I like to lay out my blocks next to me at my sewing machine. You've seen me do this many times. That just allows me to keep an eye on how things are going. I'm going to sew this row to this row, and then I'll bring it back to my table and I'll sew this row to that row. And then I'll sew the columns here as well. And the whole block will be pieced together. Then I will press it and square it up to 12.5 inches, and the block will be done. Here are the 2 completed blocks. They have been squared up to 12.5 inches. All of these sampler blocks in this 52-week series are 12.5 inches, so they'll all work together beautifully for you if you put the blocks together in a sampler quilt. If you notice here, both blocks are laying together and they're forming this beautiful box that you saw in this diagram. So this box right here is this beautiful box that is forming from these blocks laying next to one another. So I've positioned this one toward this center here and this one toward the center there. And just a beautiful design. You could also just have them all on point and then just add regular colored blocks, maybe a green or a blue or whatever color in between, and you'll be sewing these together in diagonal rows to create your quilt. There's so many ways you could put this together. So I hope that you'll go ahead and make this block. It's a beautiful one. I hope that you'll add it to your series of 52-week Scrappy blocks that I have been teaching, and I would certainly love to see photos of your blocks as well as your quilts. You can go out to my Facebook page, Quilting with Lori, and then locate my group page, Scrap Up Your Stash, and I'll provide links below in the description box. But please post pictures of your blocks, of your quilts out there. We all love to see them. I want to remind you that I do have the Scrappy sampler quilt put together. I've got the Quilt As You Go videos out on my channel, and I'll make sure to link those below. And there's also a faux flange binding video that will be coming out here sometime later this week. So I hope that you're working on your Scrappy sampler quilt and using my Quilt As You Go methods. They're really simple methods, and I hope that you'll try those to put it together. I wanted to let you know also about another class that I have starting this coming Saturday. I'll be posting the first class out on my channel. It is a quilting, sort of a beginning quilting class where I'll be teaching you about quilting and also teaching you a number of different techniques, as you can see here in this sampler quilt. So I'm hoping that you'll spread the word, share it with your friends, family, quilt guild. Maybe you've got some young teenagers or young girls in your family who would love to learn to sew. And I'd love to have them join us and learn the techniques about quilting. I'll be going over some fundamentals on Saturday, and we'll start with one block. So in this quilt, I'm teaching a lot of different techniques. Straight piecing, of course, we'll start with that. But I'm also teaching some crazy quilts, some log cabins, some stained glass kaleidoscope, strip piecing, some applique, some additional fun piecing here, some more applique. And then, of course, over here, this is the 13th block, and it is the cathedral windows block. So there's a lot of different techniques that you're going to learn in this class. It's going to go for a number of months. And after it gets started, it'll be posted once every month on probably the 3rd or 4th Saturday is when I'll post it. So please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and then hit the notifications button so that you're notified when I do post my videos up on my channel. And please like and subscribe and comment. I love to hear comments from my viewers. Along with this, I will also be teaching that triple border with the cornerstones. So you'll learn that as well. There's going to be a lot of fun things. And then we'll do the quilting. So the process of this class is going to go for quite a while. And it will give you time each month to be able to work on the block or blocks for homework that I assign, and it will be a lot of fun. So please spread the word, let people know that it is taking place and it's starting up this Saturday. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Lori Dickman. This is Quilting with Lori, and today I was able to share the rose tulip block, and the PDF is in the description box below. Don't forget to grab that. And I appreciate your joining me. I hope that you're enjoying this content that I'm putting out on my channel. And if you do, please don't forget to subscribe and like and comment. Love to hear from my viewers. So until next time, happy quilting.